am super excited to share something with you guys that happened about a month ago. We recently got a freeze dryer and we're pretty dang excited about it. In this video today, like I said, we got this a month ago, so I am not an expert. This is not going to be a how-to freeze dry video. We'll probably come up with one in a little while, like once we actually get proficient in it. But for now, I'm going to share with you all the cool things that we have freeze dried in the last month, because you bet your booty, between me and my husband, we have been making sure that that thing has been pumping almost non-stop. We're very excited to have a freeze dryer because we tend to be more of the prepared mind, and we have a lot of freezers. So my husband is very nervous about having so many freezers that are so full of food. And this stuff is apparently supposed to be almost as good as fresh food. Until today, I'm going to share with you my very first time ever of consuming anything freeze-dried, apart from I tried a bite of freeze-dried candy. I wasn't a super fan of it like a year ago. But other than that, I've never had freeze-dried. My husband has, and he absolutely loves it. But most of the freeze-dried food that we have in our pantry, is not stuff that I can really consume. So I've never actually bothered to try it. But we're gonna try quite a few different things today, and I'm really excited about it. The first thing that we need to do is actually bag up a bunch of sausage that has just become ready. One of the things that the main thing that we have been freeze drying has been our sausage from the pigs that we raised last year. And we have been doing load after load after load of this stuff. And we're very excited to get it shelf stable, more nutritious than it would be any other way that we could preserve it. But, okay, I know you're not really supposed to eat it freeze dried, but there's nothing wrong with it. But I want to try it because I've never eaten freeze-dried food, and meat is the main thing that I consume. So why not give it a try and see if I can have some meat candy. That's really good. It's crunchy, obviously. This could be like a candy replacement for carnivores. That's so good. That's dangerous. No joke. I could just pack a Ziploc of this, take it with me to my markets. I wouldn't have to worry about a cooler. It's just so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got other things that we're gonna try once I bag this stuff up. Honestly, I know the other ones aren't gonna be quite as good, but this one is really good. My husband put this load in. The first load that I didn't know that you were supposed to make sure to get most of the fat off, just to make sure that it has a very long shelf life. But these ones, even without rinsing off the excess fat, it's supposed to last 5 years. But every future batch, we made sure to get all the excess fat off. So those ones should be the really long, 20-year shelf life. Room temperature, shelf stable, literally like meat candy. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I still haven't figured out a really effective way of bagging these up. But gosh darn it, if you have any ideas, let me know. I think I need to get one of those big funnels or something. The freeze dryer that I ended up going with is from Prep for Life. It is called the Cube. A couple months ago, another YouTuber reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in the Prep for Life, the Cube freeze dryer. And after asking questions and back and forth and all the different things, I decided to go ahead and give this freeze dryer a try. They gave me 30 days to see if I wanted to hang on to it or if I wanted to give it back. So that's why we have been running this for 30 days, trying to figure out how to use it, trying to make sure that it was something that we wanted to hang on to. And you're seeing this video, so clearly we have decided that it is something that we want to hang on to. This is not a review video. This is just a intro to the Cube, which I don't have any experience with any other freeze dryer, but I really do like the Cube for a lot of different reasons. One of them is that it takes up a smaller footprint than most other freeze dryers with the same space of trays. And the reason for that is their internal chamber is cube shaped instead of circle. So there's more room inside of there to keep the trays without expanding the size of the internal chamber. Hope that makes sense. But one of the main reasons that I really like the cube is that they are manufactured here in the good old United States of America. They do not just design it here and then ship the designs across seas to be manufactured. It is actually manufactured here. Whenever possible, I do like to buy things that are made in the United States. Just, you know, it creates jobs. With it being manufactured in the United States, as well as it's a newer company, the price is a little bit higher than some of the competitors that you've seen, some of the mainstream competitors. But if you ask me, it's worth that. Why is this so good? Eventually I'm gonna try and rehydrate these and see how they rehydrate. Over the next coming little while, I'll be doing like a review video with kind of more detail, my experience with, you know, like the shipping and, you know, with all the sort of details. Along with that, we're gonna be making freeze drying kind of a part of, you know, videos here and there, because I'm a big fan. And we're gonna be trying stuff that you can't really find. Obviously, fermented foods. We're gonna try freeze drying it. And then eventually, I have no idea how much it costs, so I don't know when I'm gonna actually be able to do it, because I hear that tests can be very expensive. But I wanna try freeze drying fermented foods and see what it does to the microbes in there. To the bacterias, the yeast. Certain cycles of the freeze dryer do heat up. So I don't know how that will affect fermented foods, but I would love to find out. And if I can find a reasonably priced test, we'll do bacterial counts and all of those sorts of things. I'm gonna do it and share it with you guys, because I think that would be really cool information to have. Ah, so good. I'm hoping that by putting it in this pan, last time I bagged these up, I did it straight from the tray with a spatula. It was such a mess. I saw Robert doing it once and he just put it in a bowl and I was like, oh duh, why didn't I think of that? But the freeze dryer package that we were sent didn't come with an extra set of trays. So we're still waiting on our second set of trays that we ordered, because we just found that it goes infinitely faster if you pre-freeze it, and it's just easier to keep the freeze dryer pumping. I'll show you guys the freeze dryer in just a minute. This here is the cube freeze dryer. You can see kind of for scale, this is the size of it. It comes with this handy dandy little cart so you can kind of wheel it around everywhere. And this is the inside, whereas a lot of freeze dryers will just have the space like here as a circle, and the machine itself just has to be significantly larger. And this one, because of the handy dandy cube shape on the inside, the footprint of it doesn't have to be quite as large, which we definitely appreciate. We have stashed it in our abandoned seed room, and it just works great in here. It doesn't get too hot in this room. We just make sure to leave this door open so it gets a little bit of airflow and it gets nice and tucked away. It's not the quietest thing in the world. I know that anybody interested in a freeze dryer knows that the vacuum pump is very loud, but it's not as loud as I had anticipated. It's louder than we hoped, not as loud as we feared. Hopefully that makes sense. When we first had this set up, we did try and put it in our living room, and that was after the first batch. That was clear that that was not going to happen long term, so thankfully we had this nice little space in here that we could put it at. I'll be going into more detail how to kind of use it and all of those sorts of things in a future video, well, I should say in a near future video. But this one is kind of just intro to we're learning how to freeze dry. So we'll bring you along for that one. Believe me, I understand not everybody is going to be able to relate to freeze drying content, and I know that not everybody can afford a freeze dryer. If they hadn't sent us one, it probably would have been, it was in our plans to get one, but we probably would have been at least a year before we were able to actually get one, because freeze-dried food is simply more sustainable, because you don't have to have the extra space in your freezer. You don't have to pay for the electricity to keep it cold all the time. And I forgot the oxygen absorbers. Hang on. Can't find him anywhere. I texted hubby, hopefully he'll see my message. One other cool thing that I didn't mention earlier, I will probably go into a little bit more detail in my video that's like more of a review, but the Cube freeze dryer has a patent pending technology in it that has a moisture sensor. So when your batch says it's done, in like 99% of the time, it is done. You don't have to evaluate it. I mean, you do, but you know, you always should just to be safe. But like, usually when it says it's done, that sucker's done. So there's not a whole lot of guesswork going into it. And that is something that I really do like. Needless to say, I have a ton of ideas rolling around inside this noggin here. And we're gonna experiment with a bunch of different stuff. Kind of my goal with that is so that we can kind of figure out if a freeze dryer is right for you, if it's something that you want to try and save up for, and if the Cube is the right one for you when you are ready to get one. Another reason that we are big fans of the idea of freeze drying and getting more freeze dried food into our pantries is simply the weight of it. Our house is not the most structurally sound house in the world. And canned foods, especially a large amount of canned foods in our pantry, is proving to be an issue with the weight of it. Because if you think about it, this bag here fits a little more than a pound of pork. We can use different bags. My husband's been using, we have these big like 5-gallon, these ones. They're really big. And he's been cutting them into 4 and then just resealing them. So they're a little bit smaller because we already had those on hand and it works really well that way. And you can fit a good amount of them in there. But one of these bags, I mean, you're looking at, it maybe weighs a couple ounces, maybe. Actually, let's fill this up. Let's pack this sucker full and see how much it weighs. It weighs 8.9 ounces. So once I get these into the bags, I'll be able to tell exactly what the original weight of this pork was, because Robert is the one who did it. Robert said that he put 12 pounds into the freeze dryer and we got 7 bags out of it. So that's almost 2 pounds. It's 1.71 pounds brought down to 8 ounces. So usually when you're canning, about a pound fits into there, plus the weight of the water, plus the weight of the jar. So you're looking at usually close to about 2 pounds for, actually I have one, 24 ounces. I know this isn't gonna be a huge factor for a lot of people, but for us, weight is a huge factor. So when you freeze dry it, this stuff weighs like less than a quarter, I think it might even be a fifth of what it would weigh if we were canning it. That's a huge bonus for us. So I'm gonna put all this stuff away and we're gonna come back and do a taste test on everything else that we've freeze-dried so far. It's not to say that I'm never gonna can again. I'm obviously going to can, but I don't think I'm gonna be doing it anywhere near as much. Oh my gosh. This thing is so light. These are, Robert thought they were apples. They're actually nectarines, but I put them in and he took them out, and I forgot to tell him what it actually was. It is literally like styrofoam. Okay, let's try a nectarine. That is so sweet. These were unripe nectarines. Okay, no more. Next up, mangoes. Mangoes are truly one of my favorite foods, but I can't have them because they're really high in sugar. But I'm gonna have this one. That one was also underripe, so it would have not been very sweet, but with the fermentation, but with the freeze drying, it has intensified the sweetness. And strawberries. See, it just looks like, I thought that would be crunchier, but it's not. Onions. I'm not gonna try rehydrating any of these today because I just don't feel like it, but we will. And red onions. Oh my gosh, that is really sweet. That tastes like an intensified raw onion, but obviously does not have the texture of a raw onion. Like, it doesn't lose any of its flavor like it does when you dehydrate it. That's interesting. Green beans. That one I don't like. I can see how if you like seasoned it, I could see how that would be really good. Like a good low carb kind of snack. But just a plain raw freeze-dried green bean, not my favorite. So that one I'm definitely gonna try and rehydrate because green beans are a great low carb snack. So, or low carb part of a meal. Which is something that matters to me. But I think we have tried everything, so that's all there is for the taste test portion of this, of our evening. So if you guys are interested in buying a freeze dryer, if it's on your list, if it's something that you are maybe hunting around, trying to decide which one you're gonna go with, or if you're just in the saving stage and you want to get a freeze dryer, or you're just looking around because you're curious, I will link down below for you guys the website so you guys can check it out. If you guys are watching this video as it's coming out from, I had to look it up on my phone to make sure I was giving you the right information, from June, this is 2024, from June 28th to July 8th, you get 15% off of everything on their website. It's an Independence Day sale, so it's a really good deal. And then also, if you're watching this later on, the 19th through the 25th of July, 2024, you can get 10% off of everything. So if you are actively searching for a freeze dryer, now is better than later, but later is still good. And I'll be sure to keep you guys posted on anytime that there's a sale going on their website. So if you guys are interested in getting a freeze dryer and you want to check out the Cube, I will leave a link for you guys down below, as well as in the first pinned comment, so that you guys can go head over there and check everything out and see if it's something that would work for you now or maybe sometime in the future. If you guys are interested in checking out how I can pork, check out this video right here. It'll answer all your questions for you, and peace out, sauerkraut.